Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net, also carrikerchronicles.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's where all your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. It's just science. We got a great guest that's joining the show today. But before I bring him on, all right, if you believe, like I do, that Lavonte David is one of the best linebackers in the NFL that people need to talk about more, smash that like button. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe, ring the notification bell. We're going to be doing a bunch of interviews throughout this offseason, talking about the final thoughts for the transfer portal class. The news never stops here in Husker Nation. But now it's time to bring on our guest. The man is a former Husker, black shirt. He's a Super Bowl champion, three-time All-Pro, Pro Bowler. Let's see, first team All Big 12, then first team All Big 10, two-time All-American. Won the Linebacker of the Year award in the Big 10, over 1,500 career tackles in the NFL. Mr. Lavonte David, how you doing, my friend?
What's up, Adam? Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. And as I tend to do in my interviews, we're going to go backwards before we go forwards. So a lot of recon on you today, and I thought it was quite interesting. Northwestern High School out of Miami. All right. Yeah. You won back-to-back state championships. And actually, USA Today named you guys the national champions for America for a high school team. Okay. But you were a two-star prospect coming out of high school, and you weren't highly recruited. What was that like, you coming out of high school not being that highly recruited?
Oh, man. It was different, especially, playing on a roster full of talented guys. We had a lot of 4-stars, a couple 5-star guys on our roster, big name guys and things like that. And we was a talented team. And me coming in, I didn't start until my junior year, so I was kind of like under the radar a little bit. And then I didn't nobody didn't really notice until like towards my senior year, middle towards the end of my senior year. And I didn't really pay no mind and things like that. Stuff like that, but like I definitely was just enjoying the ride. Enjoying the ride in high school. It was fun times, winning football games, winning championships, stuff like that, and then just enjoying it with the guys until they actually got down to crunch time. Like, I remember guys used to be going to camps. I'm like, man, I ain't going to no camp, stuff, stuff like that. I wasn't interested in all that stuff. So, now, you see all that stuff is real big now. That's how a lot of people do get their recognition and stuff like that. So maybe, back then I probably would change it, but, I'm kind of happy the way everything turned out for me, for real.
I think it worked out all right for you. Then you went to Fort Scott Community College in Kansas. You helped lead them to a JUCO national championship, two-time all-conference, JUCO all-American. I thought this was interesting. You also played against Cam Newton's JUCO team in the 2009 national championship game. You were actually the MVP of that game. You tackled Cam on the last defensive play of that game. Now, Cam's team ended up of a punt return for a touchdown. Right. What was it like playing against Cam in JUCO and again in the NFL?
Yeah.
And could you already tell the type of player he was going to become when it came to being very good and also entertaining as well?
Yeah. It was very fun, man. That whole time at Fort Scott Community College was a great time. It was full of, ups and downs, a lot of humbling moments, a lot of, look in the mirror moments, playing there. But actually everything, that we went through at JUCO, kind of like molded me into who I am today. And that particular game, I just remember, it was basically a rematch of the game from last year, not a national championship game, but we played them in the bowl game from the previous year, and we won and we beat them, but they didn't have him. So, the following year, they had him, and then like it was two of the top teams. You just knew that we was gonna meet up at some point, and for the most part, we was prepared. We was prepared. The time that I did tackle him, I had to spy him. It was a big stop for us to get the ball back to run the clock out, and I spied him and ended up, getting the stop on fourth down. They punted it away, and then our offense had time to, run the clock out, but we didn't. But the clock, it's a crazy story, man. Very, very. I'm getting emotional thinking about it because I really wanted to win that game. We ended up punting the ball while the clock is running. The ball ended up staying inbounds. The guy recorded and returned it back with like 30-something seconds left, and we ended up losing the game. Very heartbreaking moment. And as you said, man, I won the defensive MVP of that game. I'm like, man, I don't want that trophy. I want the other. But definitely, you knew, Cam was going to be a incredible football player, man. He had a lot of success in junior college and moved on to college, winning the Heisman and being #1 overall pick and having success in the league. And obviously, playing him almost my whole career when I was in Tampa. So it definitely was a fun matchup starting in JUCO.
All right, man. Then in 2010, you transferred to Nebraska, played 2010, 2011 for Bo Pelini. What made you want to come play for the Huskers, and what made you want to come play for Bo Pelini?
Yeah, I mean, it just felt right. I never met some people who was really genuine, who was up front with me, straight up guys. I remember I believe I was when they came, I had an in-home visit. I don't know where I was coming from, but I wasn't really there yet. And then when I walked in, they was sitting on the couch. I think I was still in school, honestly. But they had an in-home visit. They was meeting with my parents, things like that. And as soon as the meeting was over, as the in-home visit was over, I remember my parents calling me raving about Bo and Carl and all those guys. Like, man, you got like these people right here. They're gonna take care of you. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be good. Me, I'm like, man, I don't know. I kind of want to go back home. I'm getting kind of homesick. He was like, nah, trust me. It's gonna be. They great people. They're genuine people. You're gonna love it. And so I ended up taking their word for it, and everything worked out. I felt like Nebraska just going there, being there on a visit. Obviously, the atmosphere. But it was a night game. I remember they was playing Kansas State, I believe. It was a really good game, and I just felt the energy, the atmosphere was just incredible. And a couple of my BK was there, Brandon Kinney. He was a former teammate of mine. He was there, and I know my guy, Yoshi Jamarcus Hardrick, he was considering going. So, I just felt comfortable. And, going there on a visit, a lot of guys, kind of welcomed me and stuff like that. So, I just felt like it was going to be a great place for me. And then just thinking about just being away, staying in that Midwest area, after being in Kansas at Fort Scott, just staying in that area, I just kind of fell in love with, the hospitality of the people and just grew great relationships with everybody around me.
All right, man. So you got a lot of highlights from your career at Nebraska, obviously with the Bucs, and we'll get to some of those. But you were also a part of the largest comeback in Nebraska football history. Saturday, October 8th, 2011, the Buckeyes lead the bad guys. The Buckeyes lead Nebraska by 21-6. Third and 1 for Ohio State. All right, third quarter, you strip Ohio State quarterback Braxton Miller of the ball. To me, that was the turning point in the game. The Huskers complete the largest comeback in school history, 28 unanswered points, win 34-27. What was going through your mind, when you caught guys were completing that 28 unanswered point comeback in the second half?
Yeah, I just remember it was at halftime. I believe it was 27-3 at halftime. I'm not sure what exactly the score was. But I just remember in the locker room, I remember when we played Wisconsin early in that year, I got up, yelled, did a lot of screaming and stuff like that. And, the message was, kind of received or whatever, but it didn't impact us the way I wanted to impact it. So, this time, we playing Ohio State in the locker room. And I just remember, telling myself, nah, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to go out there and prove it. You know what I'm saying? I got to find a way to make a play for our team. And I remember, they had the momentum. They were driving. I just remember Braxton Miller, made a couple guys miss. And right then there, I just saw the opportunity to, take the ball away. And then as soon as he spun, I was running to him. And I wasn't satisfied with just making the tackle. I was like, in my mind, throughout this whole thing, I'm like, I got to make a play. And I ended up stripping the ball. And, so behold, man, that became the turning point of the whole football game and energized the team. And, guys was just, I feel like when guys see me just continue to play as hard as I was playing, just ignited everybody. They knew that I wasn't willing to quit, and I was, ready to, try to get this game won, because we had a lot of time left on the clock, and the offense took over after that.
All right. They're not all fluff questions, but answer this however you want. After the game, some fans had left early. Bo had some comments. My thing that's always bothered me was the audio getting leaked. But what were your thoughts, whether it's Bo's comments or just the audio getting leaked, publicly? What were your thoughts on that after the game?
Yeah, I think it was tough, man, with the audio getting leaked. I kind of do remember, if I'm not mistaken, we was in the locker room. We huddled up as a team, and he was, kind of like, obviously pissed off about, that was going on or whatever. But it is, I do kind of, feel bad that the audio did get leaked because, as a coach, you all know Coach Malone, he's a very emotional guy. You know what I'm saying? He wears his heart on the sleeve. He's a passionate guy. And, it all comes from a good place. With a fan base, with a prideful fan base like, Nebraska, they definitely didn't want to see that, type of performance. But, you just got to have faith, at the end of the day, and things did turn around, that game. But it's just unfortunate that did get leaked, and that, obviously that led to a lot of other things and stuff like that. But, very unfortunate, man. They should just keep stuff like that in house and, maybe address it any other type of way if it do come about. But definitely unfortunate because simple fact that it led to other stuff, I feel like personally like messed a lot of things up.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know this. Bo was my D coordinator my redshirt freshman year, Oklahoma, LSU, and came back as a head coach in Nebraska. He was our interim head coach for the bowl game, Alamo Bowl, and we played Michigan State too. So when you say he wears his heart on his sleeve, I don't have to. I don't have to. All right. So you played with a lot of guys that people would recognize or remember, from Rex Burkhead to Amir Abdullah, Kenny Bell. But a couple guys I wanted to ask you about. Taylor Martinez. He was just inducted into the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame this last fall. What was it like playing with Taylor? Just immensely talented, a good football player. That was a guy that kind of wore his emotions on his sleeve as well. What was it like playing with Taylor?
Man, it was fun. Every time just going out there, just knowing Taylor had something up his sleeve, or whatever, maybe making a good throw, good pass, or, taking it 80 yards to the house, running the ball. One of the most athletic guys I've seen play the quarterback position. Talented dude, soft-spoken, never really talking. I think, like you said, man, he's very, he wears hearts on the sleeve. He's very emotional with her, but he's not very much outspoken. He always keeps to himself. And, that's just what you love about him. You kind of grow into knowing him as a human being, as a person. You're like, okay, this is, he always, he's not very outspoken, but he's very competitive, and he's going to try his best every time. And, definitely proud of him that he did get inducted to the Nebraska, Hall of Fame, very much deserving. And he won us a lot of football games. I'm glad he was on the outside. I'm glad I did have to face him.
Yeah, and I thought Husker Nation gave him a warm reception when that news broke last fall. Like, we really do have the best fans here in Nebraska.
Yeah.
All right, and a few other teammates I want to ask you about. You got Rex Burkhead, who was the starting running back in 2011. Amir Abdullah was a true freshman. You got Kenny Bell, who was a redshirt freshman, but led the team in receptions in 2011. Talk to me about those three guys, Amir, Rex. Yeah. I know a couple of them were younger, but what was your experiences like with them as teammates?
I just remember, man, Rex, seeing Rex for the first time, guys, people were, coming up there raving about him and things like that. And, I just remember me coming in, being the top JUCO recruit, and him being, I think he was going to his sophomore year. They were talking about him raving about, like, well, is he the guy then? This the guy who I want to compete against then. And I just remember doing the one-on-ones, me coming in, and then, like, he cooked me. he got me in one-on-ones, like, okay, that's all I need to see. This dude had got my respect, and then ever since then, the competitive nature of us just going back and forth was, really great thing to be a part of. And then, Kenny Bell, you brought up Kenny, we was in the same recruiting class. I just seen Kenny, just work his tail off as a young boy. Coming in as a freshman, he didn't play, he redshirted. I just remember, in practice and stuff like that, he just was killing us. And I just knew that, I'm like, man, at some point, man, he gonna have to play real soon. Whenever he get his opportunity, he's gonna be a baller. And obviously it showed. And then I just remember Amir. Amir was a freshman, I was a senior. A young guy coming in, just trying to learn, do his thing. And then it's no surprise the way his career took off at Nebraska, man. He was just a really hard worker. A great worker in the weight room, a great worker in the on the field, a student of the game. And, I finally was able to get his jersey this year. So I needed that. Yeah, we exchanged jerseys this year. So I definitely, was proud of that, man. being around those guys, man, it was it was a real true brotherhood. All we had was each other, and all of us have great relationships right now to this day, whether it's on social media or whether it's hitting each other up and things like that. So it was definitely to be great to be a part of that brotherhood because it's still sticking with us today.
There's a couple defensive guys I want to ask you about, Prince and Compton. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, DPS Concrete Construction. Ladies and gentlemen, they are your local concrete experts, retaining wall experts. Now, Jason Armstrong is the owner, and him and I chatted the other day. He has a bunch of other businesses that we're going to start talking about on this show as well. But you can always go to dpsconstruction.net. But stay tuned. In the future, you can learn more about some of the other things that he's got going on that are doing really, really well. Also, Bonzel Pool and Spa. Check them out at bonzelpool.com. They put in my family's pool, my family's hot tub. They take care of them. There is nobody better. If you go to the store, ask for Jeff. He's the owner. Tell him Adam sent you, or you can go to the website at bonzelpool.com. All right, man, talk to me about Prince Amukamara. Obviously, great career in college, great career in the NFL. And then talk to me about Will Compton, your fellow linebacker brother, who's not doing too shabby nowadays either.
Right. I remember my first time meeting Prince. Prototypical style cornerback, man. When I first saw him, I'm like, dang, this dude played cornerback. And they were saying like he started as a running back, I believe, when he first got there. And then when they moved him to cornerback, and the rest is history. He was a different cat, a different cat. Not a guy who I'm not really used to. But I never know when he's serious or not. Always trolling and things like that. But definitely a fun guy to be around, man. Stand up guy, genuine guy. And then getting into Will Compton, my guy, man, one of my closest buddies right now to this day. We just talking yesterday. He checked up on me after the game. But Will, man, soon as I stepped in the building, we built that, relationship from the get-go. I used to be at his house all the time. I met his family. I've been to his football camps. He met my family. We was roommates on the road and at home. Probably had an extra room at his house for me. We built that relationship, off the get-go. And then I just remember the first day I got there, he introduced himself. Probably one of the first people who I met when I actually got there. He, introduced himself to me, and we've been boys ever since. Like you said, man, I'm proud of things that he is doing. Outside of football now, I got his podcast stuff going. But I always seen that. I always knew he was that type of guy. He's definitely a media personality. I just remember he used to always just look up YouTube videos and stuff like that. And while we was in a hotel room, just always, outspoken, always doing funny things, man. I'm definitely proud of things that he's been doing. And then on the football field, great teammate, great football player. Definitely was a great couple of years being his companion out there on the field, man. And I just remember one of the stories. I remember, with Coach Pelini, his defense used to run down. There was only one linebacker on the field. And then, I just remember, looking at Will, I was like, man, we not doing this no more. When you come back, we not doing this one linebacker on the field thing no more. Like, we gonna change this. And me and him had to end up talking to both. Like, man, hey, if Will not out there, I don't want to be out there. If he not out, and vice versa. So it ended up changing, and we was able to be on the field together, man. And it was definitely a fun moment for sure.
That's impressive that Bo listened to you. Sometimes he would, sometimes he wouldn't listen to players. So that's impressive. All right.
Yeah. He took our word for it, and it worked out.
Do you have a favorite memory or maybe behind the scenes story or something that people don't know that you'd be comfortable with sharing with the fine folks at home?
Yeah. I mean, I just remember sometimes, man, I remember during the spring and stuff like that, Coach Pelini, a lot of guys used to play basketball and stuff like that at the rec. And, I don't think I was there at this particular time. I probably came a little later, but I just remember, guys saying, Coach Bo and Coach Carter at the rec, we everybody playing basketball and then one-on-one and stuff like that. And I just thought that was pretty cool, man, because, you don't see, coaches interacting with guys like that outside of actual football. But, when I witnessed that, I thought that was a great moment. And it just shows the type of coach he was. He was an incredible players coach, man. He always put our best interests at first, and then another story I remember, it's kind of funny, but kind of, weird. Just, I remember we was preparing for the bowl game. We was playing Washington. I remember we just played Washington, and then the previous year, the guys played in that same bowl game, and then we had to play Washington again the following year.
I remember.
So I just remember Coach Pelini saying, like, look, guys, we had a team meeting. He was like, look, I understand if you want to play in a bowl game, it's a bowl game, it's a good little experience or whatever, but, we playing these guys or whatever, and, it's up to you. If you don't want to play in it, we don't have to play in it. I really don't care if we don't play in it or not, but it's up to you guys. And I'm like, dang, man, like, I like, that's kind of, different, a coach, like, getting our opinion and, just trying to get our input on insight on things like that. So, I think that's what just makes him a, incredible person, man. He's a guy who's, when you're looking at him on TV, you look like a, a-hole, and a guy who's, nobody likes, but it's the complete opposite, man. One of the greatest people, one of the, a great football coach, a great football mind. And if you personally get to know him, you'll see why a lot of us talk about him when we talk about him.
I shared this story years ago, but when they fired Solich and Bo was the interim head coach for our Alamo Bowl game versus Michigan State, we about didn't play in that bowl game. We had a players-only meeting. Yeah. There was a lot of guys that were mad Solich got fired, and the way he got fired and how we found out he got fired. I found out on ESPN. I digress.
Yeah.
My point is, we just about didn't play in that bowl game, but Bo's like, we're leaving, the coaches, you guys decide what we're doing. And we just, the tide turned. The tide was, we're not going to play. DeMario Williams got up, voiced his opinion, and that's when the tide kind of turned, and we ended up playing and whooping Michigan State. So, all right, man, what are your thoughts on Nebraska football, Matt RHULE, and the director of the football?
I think it's going in a great direction, man. I do all my trash talking every Saturday, win, lose, or draw. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going great. He got a great nucleus of players. I know it's a very young team, so very promising. Obviously starting with Dylan Raiola, very promising quarterback for us. And getting that bowl win, was real huge, man. I think it's a turning point. Got a lot of great recruits, got some transfers coming in. And, just seeing, the progression, with Matt RHULE when he first got there, and then the following year, and now this past year improving. Starting the season 6-0 was really good. You know what I'm saying? Had a little bumps in the road after that. But, once you get those little things fixed, losing the D coordinator, things like that, but keeping somebody who kind of familiar with the guys is really good. So, definitely promising, man. As always, man, I'm always repping, go Big Red. I always got a couple friendly wages every Saturday. So, I'm always repping, man. It's always fun, just to see and trash talk. We doubt it, man. We doubt it. So I love to prove people wrong. And those guys backing me up with that.
All right, you were a second-round pick, 2012, the 58th pick in the NFL draft. There was even talk that they were going to move you to safety at that point in time. I think linebackers worked out all right for you.
Yeah.
Dude, you're still playing to this day. A couple of questions about the NFL. What was it like to win the Super Bowl? You beat the Chiefs 31 or 31-9 in 2020. What was it like winning the Super Bowl?
Man, it was one of the top 3 best moments I ever had in my life. I just remember, leading up to the game, we was playing at our home stadium. So I just remember practicing and just seeing them, putting everything up, decorating the stadium and stuff like that. Cause our facility is basically right across the street. So you can see everything. So I'm just looking at it like, damn, we about to play there, just the different emotions started kicking in and stuff like that. And I just remember walking into the stadium. And it didn't look the same, the lights was brighter, everything looked more cleaner. The grass was laid out perfect, and I'm like, dang, this ain't our usual stadium. We don't really usually play in this stadium right here. So, it just walking out for pregame warm-ups, man, everything was just everything was just heightened, and then getting in the actual game, it was fun, man. It was fun. And then actually winning, and it's like everything just flashing before your eyes. Like, dang, everything I've been through, first 8 years, never making it to the playoffs, never even sniffing the playoffs, having losing seasons, always having the top 5, top 10 pick and stuff like that. And then actually being there in that moment, in our home stadium and just having, just seeing the fans and then seeing teammates who did go through some of that stuff with me was kind of like a surreal moment. And definitely one of the top three feelings, man. Enjoying it with the guys, man, hugging everybody, giving Tom Brady one of the biggest hugs I ever gave another man in my life. So it was definitely a fun moment to be a part of. And I see why that's the ultimate goal. Everybody want to win the Super Bowl just to get that feeling. And I see why, everybody fights so hard and try so hard to get back to it, because it's an incredible moment.
So you've had a lot of teammates over the years, obviously. I'm curious, who are some of your most memorable teammates, or however you want to look at it? Tom Brady and Ndamukong Suh, but who are some of the guys that stick out to you from your NFL career you've had as teammates?
Yeah, coming into the league, man, Gerald McCoy was one of those guys who took me under his wing, who I have a very close relationship right now to this day. Great, very, very close friend of mine, a guy who I ask for advice, very often. I had Michael Bennett as a teammate. EJ Biggers was one of those guys who took me on his wing. I had Rondé Barber as a teammate. Darrell Revis, Deshaun Golston. Obviously Suh. So when Suh came about, it was very fun to have Suh, to play with Suh. Obviously, with his, things that he did in Nebraska and in the league and stuff like that. It was very fun to play with him. Tom Brady, like you mentioned, LaShawn McCoy, Leonard Fournette, Quan Alexander. There's a whole bunch of guys I can name, man, a whole bunch of guys. And everybody played a pivotal part, in my career. Guys who I, have relationships with to this day. And you know how it is. I mean, you've been in the NFL locker room, man. When you meet these guys and you build relationships with these guys, and that stuff is, everlasting. And that's what you do in the football world, man. You want to build brotherhoods and relationship with guys, because, that's those guys you go to battle with. You do all these things where you go through these emotional ups and downs with. So those are the guys who you lean on, and that's why those relationships last so long, because these are the guys who you count on some of your roughest times.
Well, congrats on another great season. Your second to NFC South Division title in a row. Great playoff game. Obviously, the divisional doink didn't go your guys' way, but congrats on another great season.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I can't watch you in the future. One last question for you. Is there any chance, all right, in the NFL intros at the bottom, Lavonte David, can we get you to say from Nebraska possibly? Is that a possibility, man?
What's crazy? I've been saying Nebraska, but I don't know why they always go back to like the old stuff. Like I redid it and everything. My new intro, I always say, I say Black Shirts Forever. But they like it never came up. So I don't know the issue with that. But the intros that they do show is stuff from like since like 2016 or something like that. I don't know why they never redid it or whatever. So but yeah, man, for sure. I'm always referencing Nebraska, man. I know it did get brought up too, because we got one of our coaches, Coach Wade, one of our strength coach. He's a Nebraska guy, and obviously Jason Light. Chad Wade.
He was here when I was here. Go ahead. Yeah.
Chad Wade. So he kind of like brought it to my attention, and Jason Light, bring it to my attention. Obviously, social media. So I see it, but I'll tell you guys not to worry. Tell those guys not to worry, man. I'm always repping, Huskers all day, man. But that's not my fault. I do say
I got you.
Big red or black shirt. So definitely, we'll get that fixed. Hopefully, if I decide to come back next year, hopefully we can change that.
All right, man. I appreciate you taking the time. Good luck next year, whatever the future may hold for you. I know you're a free agent at this point in time right now, but good luck for you. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you can go to CarrikerChronicles.com. Putting a whole bunch of new stuff up there. If you want to bring me in for a speech, we're going to have a whole section for that. A guy who used to take speaking lessons for 6 years now does speeches and talks for a living. It's amazing. It's crazy. Starting to do a whole bunch of short videos that'll be up on the website as well. CarrikerChronicles.com. Here are my questions for you fine folks at home. Let me know your answers in the comments below. Number one, do you prefer the college football playoff format or the NFL playoff format? They're kind of getting to be a little bit similar. Number two, what's your favorite Lavonte David memory so far? And number three, whenever this day comes, are you like me, and do you believe Lavonte David should be in the NFL Hall of Fame? All right, until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red. And always remember,
Throw the bones, baby. Always throw the bones.